Hi, this is Melissa, and I wanted to share with you some time-saving tips to make the strips of tape for the mask that is called For a Nurse by a Nurse. I know here in Cincinnati this is one they're really requesting, and it has a dart on the top and bottom so it shapes to the nose, and it has ties that go all the way around. It's a really nice mask, and I just wanted to help give a very important time-saving tip that I learned back when I was in design school. Most of us who are making these masks are using plain cotton weave, like a plain weave, like quilting fabric. And the wonderful thing about this fabric is it will rip exactly on grain, which will save a ton of time making strips or even the squares, which I'm using for the front of the other masks, the filter mask. My fabric's 45 inches wide. A lot of the quilt fabrics are 44 to 45 inches wide. This is the perfect length for the top strip here and the bottom one, from top to bottom. It says 40 on the pattern, but a lot of people are giving feedback they'd like it even a couple inches longer, so that would be perfect. So I'm just gonna give you a little fabric lesson. This is the selvage. It is the finished edge of the fabric. I pre-washed all of my fabric and dried it in like an unscented laundry detergent so that it wouldn't overwhelm people if they had to smell it. And this is the crosswise going this way. So what I want to show you is how to get this on grain. What I do when I have fabric is the first thing I do is I cut into the selvage about 1 inch, and then like this, and then I tear it the full width of the fabric. And when I do that, this fabric is now perfectly on grain, and I know that because when I pull a thread, it pulls all the way across. This technique works really, really well on plain woven fabric that's fairly lightweight, which is like what most of us are using. So for my strips, that pattern calls for 1.5 inch wide, 40 inch long strips. My fabric is 45. So I'm gonna use the full width of the fabric, and I'm gonna mark 1.5 inch increments. So I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna mark 1.5 inches and just keep going. I'm gonna do several of these at one time. My fabric's a little bit wrinkly. Came out of the dryer this way, but that's okay. When I was first making the mask, I was lining them with felt or flannel, and I've kind of gotten away from that because I do think it's a little bit thick. So I'm using this cotton, more of a plain weave cotton. So here I've marked 1.5 inches in different increments across the selvage. The next thing I'm going to do, and I don't know if you can get a close-up of this, I'm going to cut into the selvage where I marked that about 1 inch in. And I'm going to do that for each mark that I made. The next part is fun. This is the ripping part. By the way, this doesn't work for every fabric. I would do a test first and see if your fabric handles it without having pulls and weird things going on. So here is my first strip. I'm going to grab this and just literally tear it. And when I do that, this fabric is 1.5 inches and it's 1.5 inches here. The fabric is the same size, the full width, and it's a super fast, easy way to tear the strip. There's another one. I use this same technique to cut the squares, or actually I should say rectangles, for the pleated masks. The only thing that happens sometimes you do this, and you notice it a little bit, I'll show you here in a minute, when you do this. And you can just do as many of these as you want. And I'm going to lay this fabric off to the side. When you rip fabric, you can get these little ripples, and that's okay. And sometimes a couple little frays. For the sake of speed, I am going to go ahead and keep doing that. This mask calls for bias tape. However, if you look at the way the mask is designed, it's very straight. I think it works fine with this fabric, which is not bias. And I also think because we're all trying to get these done as fast as possible, whatever works quickly and is still comfortable and works, go for it. So I'm going to show you how I press these. So to make the tape so that it comes out looking like this, the finished product, the first thing you're going to do is just kind of give this a quick steam and do that the whole way down. Turn it so it's wrong side up and fold it in half. Exactly in half. You're going to use this crease as a guide And this is also eventually going to be the edge of your mask. So now I'm going to open it up. Do that the whole length of the strip. I'm just going to show you where I'm the end here for the sake of time. We're going to press in one edge on each side towards the fold, almost hitting the fold, not quite. Can you see that up close, Hannah?
Yep.
So almost touching the fold, but not quite. And you're going to do that the whole length. Now I'm going to go in and do the other side. And what I normally do is do one whole side at a time. I like using steam. It helps the fabric cooperate more quickly. So use steam in your iron if you can do that. Now do that the whole length. Then go back and fold this together like that so that now it's sandwiched all inside. Get these folds even. Press them, and I like to give it a little tug like this. And that helps keep the edges even. And this is what you're going to end up with, is a really nice looking tape that you've made yourself. And because it's got selvages on the end, these will never fray. They're already finished, so you don't have to enclose them. And when you get done, you'll have a long piece that looks like this. I like this technique. Not perfect, but you know, something to speed the process up. If you have any questions or have more ideas to share, I'd love to hear them. I think we are all trying to get these done as fast as we can to help our medical people and anybody else that needs these right now. Thank you and God bless.